Good afternoon. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. It's my joy to be on the air. And guess what kind of day we have today? We have a Goldilocks day. It's just right. It's not too hot and it's not too cold. It's a just right day. The skies are blue. I can see the Cascade Mountains from where I'm sitting at. And I'm free. It's just the right day. I know Francis is in the waiting room, and so I'm going to let Mr. Rye go on for a few minutes, and then we'll get you here. But it's my joy to be on the air, and happy Monday to you. Let's have a happy week. We know it's a lot of stuff going on in the world, but let's find some happiness anyway. I'm going to be at City Council tomorrow. I testifying there on another ordinance about it's about drugs and open air markets and and people being charged with gross misdemeanors and that type of thing and that stuff. So I'll be down at City Hall tomorrow. So let's just take a little break here and see if we can get Mr. Rye on so he can give us an update. We'll be right back. You listen to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden.
The Mother's Justice Show is brought to you by H.G. Walden and the Virtues Healing Circles. Join us for Wisdom and Wellness with Reverend Walden, a monthly virtual and in-person healing circle that focuses on community healing and growth. Learn more at virtueshealing.com. That's virtueshealing.com. Also, be sure to join our healing group on Facebook. Again, visit us at virtueshealing.com today.
Good afternoon. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show again on 1150 AM KKNW. We had a quick break back there. I love Eva Cascade. She has a soft voice, sings like an angel. She is an angel now. She passed away a few years ago. I'm going to bring Mr. Rye on for a quick update here. Let us know what's happening, what you've been working on, and then we'll bring Francis on after that.
Well, there's quite a few things. I'm trying to plant some seeds, Reverend Harriet, and thank you for having me on again. I apologize for being a little tardy. I had you down for my program and had my own website up and didn't notice it for 5 minutes. But anyway, I think it's really important for people to really chime in and make sure they contact their congressional representatives about this, making the people with the least resources go to work. And what I suggested to several members of the Congressional Black Caucus and also to Pramila Jayapal, the Congresswoman from the 7th Congressional District in Washington State, that the people that they want to go back to work be able to work from home. Just like the people from Amazon who had a big demonstration last Thursday because they were being called back to the office. They also said Amazon would lead up to the climate pledge promise it made. Another thing is that, what they're looking at is somebody, you can't find childcare. If you can't afford it. And they want somebody on SNAP to find childcare, have an extra burden of getting transportation to go to work. And if it's good enough for people in government agencies, it's good enough for Amazon, good enough for Microsoft, Google, Facebook, Meta, and all these government agencies, it's good enough for the least of these. So I hope that the several members of the Congress that I've spoken to, hopefully they take that into consideration, because it just places an unnecessary burden on people who have the least resources. And then you think back about the $1.9 trillion tax rate that Donald Trump and the folks gave up. There were no requirements for them other than buy their stock back and enrich themselves. So, and
they put their money offshore. The other requirement was to put their money offshore. It's not in the American banks. American bank can't even get no interest on that money, okay?
Yeah, well, so anyway, that's one of the things. The other thing, we're still hoping that we get some justice in terms of the civil rights complaint was filed going on 2 years ago. And for whatever reason, Merrick Garland will not allow Christine Clark, the Assistant Attorney General, Associate Attorney General for Civil Rights, to look at discrimination. Now, when one group of the population is getting 0.18%, and you got 4 Black contractors go out of business on the same contract, they can say it's a Department of Transportation problem, but racial discrimination is racial discrimination. And the Civil Rights Division should be there when it's economic apartheid or somebody doing hate crimes.
Right.
But the same thing should apply, because once again, there's been no investigation, And people say, well, why don't you just sue? It takes a lot of money to sue. Well, that's why we have the U.S. Attorney General to ensure that the rights of people are not breached, and these economic rights are killing African-American communities all across the country. Because in Washington State, 23 years no affirmative action, and then the Governor's Directive 98-01 issued in December of 1998 is what killed affirmative action. That went out to all public agencies, all institutions of higher learning, all school districts, that you don't have to do any business with minorities, and their favorite minority to disenfranchise and not do business with are African descendants of the United States enslaved. And so that's why I'm also requesting, and I wish I could do it a little harder, to have a federal designation for African descendants of the United States enslaved. The folks who's been here 400 years. I don't care what Chris Christie's granddaddy came through, a great grandfather came through the Statue of Liberty. So he want to discount everything, our contributions. As a matter of fact, I compared him to Mussolini. And Mussolini, well, I mean, he was a fascist. And I'm just saying.
But fascism started in America. If we don't get that piece, we got to talk about it. It started in America, yeah, and then Hitler and all these people took it from segregation and how we were treated in America. Yeah, it's already it's in American people's heart already.
Yeah, well, that's pretty obvious when you see how the resources go and who's denied opportunities, who's made scapegoat of, who you see in prisons, who you see in food bank lines. As a matter of fact, I think in every major city has a huge Black homeless population.
Well, Clinton got rid of public housing, and that's why we have it. And then they tore down the rest of them. Clinton did that with the Democrats over there to help Newt Gingrich. I mean, he got rid of public housing. That's why our people don't have housing.
Well, if you look at the fact that people that lived in Holly Park can't afford, but there was an exodus of African descendants of the United States enslaved, pushed out of all of the housing projects. And
that's right.
Holly Park, Rainier Vista.
But you got to lay at the feet of the Democrats. They did that. Okay, they did that.
You go to West Seattle, see High Point, and they now have houses with views, and I don't doubt the people that live there.
Well, but you know what? You say, hey, and then they gave the land that the taxpayers paid for to the developers. All the land across America that housing was on, taxpayers paid for that money out of their taxes to HUD. What did HUD do? Give the lot to the developers.
But Harry, there are some people that have portfolios of housing that could allow some African Americans to return to the city of Seattle. There's one company, and I won't mention the owner's name.
Why?
Because he has representing an entity. The guy is a billionaire. He wants to give back. He has 23 buildings with 1,400 units that they're charging $700 and $800 a month for, and we can't get the people's attention in the Office of Housing for the city of Seattle. And as you also know, that Lem Howe's daughter, Helen Howe, has stepped in to take over the King County housing.
No, I didn't know that.
Yes. No. Well, the director, he resigned, and Helen Howe is now the acting director of the county's program.
Well, the idea, we have to come to terms with two things in America. The idea of these people is for Native Americans and African Americans not to have anything. Everybody else can come to America and sign up on we'll get something. And that's the mentality. So all of this is to make sure that our people are unhoused all across America. You're right about that.
No, we're in the crossfires all across the country. In fact, that's right. And they want you to forget that we, like my daughter said, we built this joint for free, that we have had in every war. And,
they don't care.
No, that's pretty obvious. So
that's right. That's why we got to care, and that's what you're doing. What you're doing, you're putting the heat on. But that's I think we can work here with let Bruce know. I mean, then we got a mayor that want to have housing. So I mean, maybe he can do something about this housing to let people, to know about the housing. You're talking about.
Yeah, well, I know that Gerald Hankerson, praise the Lord, bless him. His sister died, and he went to Detroit for the service. So I want to keep Gerald in prayer, give him strength to endure. But when he comes back, there's going to be a couple of meetings, and hopefully we can get something resolved. But it's just ridiculous to have this many housing and have a homeless population and have
Right.
1,400 affordable units.
Right.
I mean,
Well,
I don't know, what
yeah.
the politics are in the Office of Housing. I'm not claiming anything.
Well, you know what
but,
it is.
I'm
I
just
mean,
saying.
it's against us. But one other thing I wanted to just mention before you go is I think we on Social Security need to organize elderly people and say it's time to stand up, because Social Security is not an entitlement. People work for this money. You worked all your life for this money. And now they're trying to fool the younger people that they're taking care of us. It's an entitlement. And so I'm going to start tweeting out here that Social Security is not an entitlement, and special to the guy who's leading the house. We work for our money, and it's not an entitlement. So anyway,
I want the young people too. The Republican Party, the MAGA stream of the Republican Party, we're going to make you pay back all the money you paid to go to college, which President Biden had, and the Congress had legislation to forgive that debt, so you could start out not being burdened paying $400 or $500 a month when you first get out of college. So I thought y'all remember that. I don't care how much you might like DeSantis, but DeSantis is going to burden you, and you got to remember that Joe Biden. I don't care how old he is. If he keep doing the right thing, I'll be with him. So thank you very much.
All right, Mr. Ryan, thank you for the updates. We'll talk again soon here. And thank you so much. All right. Enjoy this good day.
I sure will, ma'am. Thank you.
Are you welcome? Yes. We listen to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. Mr. Ryan just left. So we have our next guest. It's already in. So we can bring our next guest on. Our next guest is Ms. Frances Oliver. And she's down in the great state of Florida. Frances, do you want to unmute yourself? While I'm waiting on Frances. Yeah, hey, thank you for waiting. I got my little times kind of crossed up, and Mr. Rye always have something to say. That's Angela Rye, dad. Have you seen her on CNN and all those places? Angela Rye, that's her dad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so just like Natalie is your daughter out there with Crump. Natalie Jackson is your daughter out there with Crump.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's Mr. Rye's Eddie Rye's junior daughter, Angela. That's on the yeah. Yeah. So, oh man, we got some talking to do. I mean, I just saw in the news. I mean, I went back to get a little stuff going on, but looked like the Senate has sent somebody. It's carried another caravan of people to out of state to California, something like that, right?
Yeah, they sent them to Sacramento.
Sacramento, yeah.
Yeah, they sent them. As a matter of fact, they didn't come to Florida. They sent them directly from the border, I think, to Sacramento. But Florida paid for it.
Okay.
Florida paid for the bus. Yeah, Florida paid for the bus and everything.
So Florida is working with Texas then, right?
Oh, yeah.
There
are two crazy governors. Two crazy governors.
Well, I want to go out there and let people know who my guest is Frances Oliver. If you're just tuning in for the first time on Mother's Justice Show, then Frances is a regular. She grew up in the same place I did. We all actually were friends growing up. And she lives in Florida. She's a civil rights icon, doing a lot of work there. Like I said, her daughter is one of the attorneys working with Benjamin Crump and all the work he does around America. So I tell you, the apples don't fall far from the tree is what they seem to say down south. And true transparency, like I said, we know each other. And she's pushing the 8-0 age here, building a house. I mean, so Frances, before we get started, I want to talk to you about being a builder. I didn't know. I mean, here's somebody, and I told Frances, I said, well, when she's 85, maybe she'll jump out of an airplane, parachute house. Get some excitement.
Yeah, I have retired from everything. And I built a couple of houses when I was younger. My daddy was a builder. And as a matter of fact, my daddy was the first Black licensed contractor here in Sanford and in Seminole County.
Wow.
So, he didn't have any boys. He had all girls. So we had to help. My dad built a lot of houses in Sanford. And so we had to help. And when he retired, actually, Harriet, I should have renewed his license. I should not have let his license expire, because now it is so hard to get a contractor's license now in Florida.
Right.
But there are ways you can get around it, because if you are a home builder, homeowner builder, you're gonna build your own house, you're allowed to build 2 houses. Okay. Now, and if I build in your name, I pull your permit, but I'm building a house in your name. Well, that's not in my name. So I can build one for you, one for someone else, and then take another person, pull a permit for that person. Okay. So you're allowed to pull more than one permit, but with the homeowners, and there's other things you can get around. You can have, say you're a project manager. If I pull my permit and I get my permit and everything, and I got my house lined up, I can hire Harriet Walden as my project manager.
Oh, wow.
And you don't have to be a contract. You my project manager, because I'm doing everything. I'm doing the subcontracting. I'm doing I'm furnishing the land. I'm doing everything. You're just my project manager. In other words, you go on the computer and upload all my stuff and do my running around and take my bids and stuff like that.
Wow.
So there are ways you can get around. Harriet, as Black people, we always been able to get around.
Well, but also, I mean, at the turn of the last century, not this century, but the turn of the 1900s, we came into that century having more skills than anybody in America, because we had built America. And then the turn of this century, we came in with the less skills than anybody in America, because we've had a lot of other people come, and then they brought in technology, and our people was, moved on and not have those skills. But those are good skills to have. I mean, I was quite surprised. And how many bedrooms is this new house you're building?
The new house got 3 bedrooms in it. The last house I built had 3 bedrooms, but this one is a little smaller, but it's on more land. This one is around 1,200 square feet. The other one's like 1,800 square feet. So this one is not quite as big, but it's going to be a nice, smaller houses. I already got a couple of retired people that's interested in buying it.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Or once you build a house, or once you just have a house free, you don't have a problem selling it.
Wow. Wow. Well, hey, you know what? If I live to Halado, I'll let you build one in my name.
Okay. All right. The only thing about it, dirt's getting hard to buy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, land in Florida is getting harder and harder. And in Sanford, oh my God, do you know a lot in Georgetown, just a 50-foot lot in Georgetown will cost you $100,000?
Well, and all of that is also to make sure that we don't get anything, because a lot of the people who have the money, I mean, that's what, so what, this is another way of pricing you out. This is another way of gentrifying your community. There's more than one way to gentrify. See, the gentrification,
and that's what's
also
happening in Georgetown. They have.
That's right, and that's exactly what it back. And now, it's too bad that we don't have like these buying clubs. A lot of communities put money together. And now, I'm just as an example. If you wanted to go to Vicksburg, Mississippi, or someplace, and you want to buy one of those big old houses that's for sale, other people will come together, put money together to buy that house to keep you as a Negro from buying it. And so we don't have that. We don't have that kind of savvy. But that's what they do in these spaces that they don't want you in. And a house come to sale, they either do a closed sale and buy it, or they all come together and put together. If the house costs $1 million, I'm just making it up. They come up with the money and they buy the house and take it off the market, so they can keep the community homogeneous the way they want to have it homogeneous. See, then that's what they do.
But now I can speak for Sanford and Central Florida. I really can't speak for any place outside, because that's where I do business. That's where I retired from, and that's where I still work from. So I can speak for Sanford. And right now, housing in the Black community, a brand new house like this house I'm building would cost maybe $300,000 in where I build it, which is in Goldsboro. So what happens? You got these people, white people, moving down from Miami up this area, because Miami is washing into the ocean. So they're moving up this way, and they're getting a house wherever they can afford it. If they can afford a house in Goldsboro, So now Goldsboro is a biracial community.
Well, and that's just really too bad. I mean, really, it's really too bad, because you know what happens after a while? I mean, I know what happens, and because I've seen it. I mean, there's a place I'm sitting at right now. It's been gentrified. I mean, when the other people come in, they treat you like you don't have no right to be there. They wonder why you're still here. I mean, it gets to be a real other bad situation. I mean, really. I mean,
but now around here, like gentrification around here, mostly when your business take up your land, and they turn these little small towns, and they turn these like Sanford Avenue in Sanford. Okay, Sanford Avenue now is the business area, when it once was all belonged to Black folks on Sanford Avenue. Now it's only one Black-owned business on Sanford Avenue, and they're trying to buy all the land behind the white people behind Sanford Avenue to put hotels and restaurants and all that. Okay, but now they haven't come into Goldsboro with the business thing, because Goldsboro, well, you know, we had 5 housing projects, and all the housing projects are gone now. So HUD's still on the land, and that land is supposed to go for development of low affordable housing.
No, it won't be affordable. It's going to be market rate, and the people ain't going to be able to get back in it. That's what Eddie was talking about here in Seattle. It's going to be market rate. It's going to be. I mean, what they'll do, they'll give a few people the first rights of refusal to come back, but the rest of it is going to be at market rate, because that's what happened with Hope 6. Hope 6 got rid of public housing like we knew it under Clinton. And he came in with mixed-use housing. That's why we have the situation of homeless people, of Black people around.
Well, we lost our Hope 6 grant. We lost ours. And that's why we got so much land here in Sanford, where 5 housing projects were, and the housing projects are gone, but the land is all fenced in now. And so there are grants out there for affordable housing. But you still, even the affordable housing, we got a few Black contractors around here building affordable housing. But when you said $350,000, to me, that's not affordable.
Well, it's not. But again, like I just mentioned to Eddie, is the whole idea in America is for African Americans and Native Americans not to have anything. Everybody else come to America.
Exactly.
Right. Because we are being held hostage. Because we had a right, we fought for our own liberation. We're in this Constitution, and the Native Americans on some places are still considered a nation. I mean, you just can't go up on their land and buck up and do anything you want to, because they're a sovereign nation within the United States of America. And so we're being punished, and everything points to the fact that that's what's happening to us. And again, by us not being a student, not being, and not being where we ought to be because of affirmative action. We thought people actually thought affirmative action was going to help us, and it did in some ways. But actually, it also stopped the organizing in a lot of places where people were organizing, and that's the last time we were talking about. About organizing. So let's take a break and come back and let's talk about some of the other stuff that we're going to talk about. I mean, because Florida has a great possibility. I mean, it's a lot of sunshine. Of course, it's all that water level is going to affect all of Florida, because Florida don't have no high ground. Eventually, I mean, not me, but not.
We're washing away. I give it another 100 years, Florida won't be on the map at all.
Yeah, and Louisiana probably about 50. New Orleans will be gone in about 50 years. Because of the water, because it was already a bowl, and they dug it out, so it's been already below sea level, and the sea level keeps going, so keep rising. So yeah. Well, let's take a break and we'll be right back. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. We'll be right back. Thank you for listening.
The Mother's Justice Show is brought to you by H.G. Walden and the Virtues Healing Circles. Join us for Wisdom and Wellness with Reverend Walden, a monthly virtual and in-person healing circle that focuses on community healing and growth. Learn more at virtueshealing.com. That's virtueshealing.com. Also, be sure to join our healing group on Facebook. Again, visit us at Virtues virtueshealing.com today.
Hi, this is Dr. Kay Mahina Intron, inviting you to tune in on Mondays on 1150 KKNW at 5 p.m. to Dr. K's Attuning to Your Abundance, where we honor everyday abundance through positive messages, poetry, music, affirmations, and writing exercises. For more information, contact Dr. K Workshops at gmail.com or Facebook, Dr. K's Abundance.
Good afternoon. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. It's my joy to be on air. Also, you can catch this as a podcast too. Make sure you subscribe. Thank you so much. All right, talking to my neighbor growing up in my somebody I've known a lifetime. Frances Oliver. She's a builder. She's a civil rights icon, a mother of famous daughter, and I mean I didn't know she was a builder, but she's going to talk about Florida and the politics of Florida. I'm interested in Florida because that's where I came from, so I must say that. All right, Frances.
Yeah, Harris, we were talking about Senate Bill 1718. That's the immigration bill that DeSantis signed in May, and it takes effect in July. And it's gonna make sweeping changes in a lot of the immigrants that's here in Florida, and in agriculture, construction, the school system, hospitals, everything. And right now, in agriculture, the immigrant community is about 37%.
Wow.
Who's gonna work those fields when they can't go out there and work?
They're gonna get the chain going.
Y'all gonna sit up some people from Washington?
No, they're gonna get the chain gang going.
See, if you count in the chain gang, it would be higher than that. That's why it's so low, because the chain gang doing about 15% of the work, 15% of the agriculture. The chain gang is doing it already. Now you remember Florida got a hell of a prison system.
Well, yeah, we were talking about that. You were talking about Florida had such a small black population now because a lot of them are felons. And I pulled up the Miami paper this morning because I wanted to see what Miami. I did the Florida Times. I did the Jacksonville Times. Then I did the Orlando Sentinel and the Jacksonville. One of them has the Time Union on it. I guess that's Jacksonville. Then I did the Orlando Sentinel and the Miami Herald. And all I saw was African Americans. They all being charged with the crime down there in Miami. Some stuff like that. And I said, well, they're going to help the centers be able to have a steady workforce. Okay, that's what they're thinking of. They ain't got to pay them nothing. Okay.
No, because that's what the 13th Amendment. Bill Clinton fell back on the 13th Amendment. And,
during the war on drugs.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, without people. Yeah.
And but now it's like some of the things been relaxed, like the marijuana and all this kind of stuff, and they're letting prisoners out because of marijuana. And I don't know what's going to happen with this bill that DeSantis passed. Sometime I think it was a bill to put more black people in prison about these guns. He passed that law that you have open gun carrying in Florida now.
Well, that's because they don't have no discipline, okay? I mean, we'll really have to come back and talk about the lack of discipline because these people robbing people, harming people when there's jobs available. I mean, really and truly, there's a consciousness of something that's going on here. I mean, every time you pick up a gun, I think the white man wins. Every time you use all that dope, the white man wins.
He has already stacked the deck with this stand your ground law. You see what I'm saying? The deck's already stacked against
Trayvon
you.
Martin, the stand your ground law. But again, people walk into this is I use the quicksand analogy all the time because I'm from Florida. Our people are walking in the quicksand with their eyes open. Okay, because they're walking into the Everglades in the cliffs in the quicksand, committing these horrendous crimes when it's not necessary. I mean, really and truly, they didn't. I mean, they weren't doing it all those other years ago. And so,
it's
and so,
our young people. It's our young people.
Well, but the young people, well, okay, and I understand that. But again, there's something missing here, that young people will pick up guns to harm people when it's opportunity. I mean, it's opportunity in every state.
People, Harry, our young people, especially our young Black men, they got so much anger in them. A lot of them now would be, if they from 18 to 25, they were probably brought up without a man in the house.
Well, but also they went to school and might have went to school for 12 years and never had a Black teacher.
Never had a Black teacher. Exactly.
Never had a Black teacher, because there's something missing when you have your whole life and not have a Black teacher. I mean,
and then they were accused. They were accused of a whole lot of things in school and was not given any justice. That's right. So they are angry young men.
They are angry, and I understand that. But I also know that special ed was created to make sure that Black kids was not in especially boys in the classroom, and it came about with the Southern strategy. And
that's so right. Again, Black boys were targeted.
That's right. And then this is that quicksand, because somehow when integration came in, I was talking to a young girl yesterday at a restaurant, and I told him I don't watch reality television because I live real life. And then I told her my story. I grew up in segregation, never had a white teacher in my life, who my teachers were. I mean, Black history was all the time. We sung Lift Every Voice and Sing every day. I say, touch me, because you ain't never found nobody like me, have you? She said, oh my goodness, I've never known anybody. I said, I know. I said, but look, I'm not social engineered. I'm not confused, okay?
That's right.
Integration brought in confusion to Black people, our children, and we as educators, we as not only as educators but as people who know the truth won't tell the truth. I mean, integration was a trick. At the end of the day, all the money that we spend in America go back to people who don't like us.
Exactly.
In segregation, that wasn't the truth. I mean,
exactly.
And it's a trick. And the
most money we're spending on beauty supplies and hair and stuff like that, we get none of that money back. None of it back. No, and it's all a trick. It really is the greatest trick that's ever been perpetrated on us. I mean, because all along we had our guiding star. We knew what I want. But I tell people I'm not an integrationist. I live in an integrated world. I don't think sending my kids to sit next to white kids is going to make them smart. What's going to make them smart is their mama sitting at the table with them telling them, now you will pick up your book. You will do your homework. I don't care if the teacher didn't give you no homework. You're going to read me a paragraph and write me a sentence or two on it, okay? And you don't have to be educated to do this. That's right.
You don't have to be educated to educate your children. And people don't realize that. You really don't.
And another thing, we as Black moms, we tell our young boys, and I think it's being an elementary teacher for 30 years, and I heard and I seen it. You are man of the house. That boy is not man of the house. And when he comes to school, he wants to be man of that classroom. And when he's not man of that, especially if he got a man teacher, that's just over. Forget it. If this boy is man of the house at home, and then he goes to school and he can't be man of the classroom because he got a man teacher, it's a big mess. They end up in this school to jail to prison pipeline.
But also the people are not coming out there, because I tell you, I've said in my classroom, I didn't have kids who messed up too much, because if I did, I'm coming to the classroom. I went in one classroom one time, and one of my youngest son, who had his birthday yesterday, had a Walkman on his head. I walked straight over there and pulled it off, and the teacher said he could use it in his room. I said, no, he can't, because I'm his mama. I don't care what you say. He cannot sit in this classroom with a Walkman on, and you are the teacher. You will not lower the standard in my house. Okay, you will not lower the standard. And this is what happened. We have allowed other people who really didn't care about our well-being to lower the standard.
That's right.
And then the kids say, oh, well, that's easy. No, life ain't easy, bro. No.
And we got to know what our children are watching on these social media at 12 o'clock at night and 1 o'clock at night.
And they're doing it. That's right.
And their parents, I had when I was doing discipline, I had a second grader mom come to the school and accusing us of letting her child hear profanity in school. And she kept coming, talking about her child coming home saying all these words that they don't use in their house. Guess where he was getting it from, Harriet?
Off the internet.
From that PlayStation or internet or whatever, that thing she had bought him and put it in his room. And she happened to pass his room one night and heard all this cussing. And she opened the door, and that's where he was getting it from. You got to know what your children
That's right. I'm listening to. You know.
That's right.
That's right. And then see, if I had little kids today, they would be mad at me all the time, Francis, because all electronics would be in my room at night. You will not be talking to a pedophile online while I'm asleep. Okay.
That's right.
You will not be talking to a pedophile while I'm asleep. And you will not do your homework.
Playing some of these games where they're doing a lot of killing and shooting.
That's right.
And they don't have they think because they can see these games with all this killing and shooting, then all they need to do is get a gun and that's solve their problem.
Exactly. That's right. That's right. That's right. But also look at the children who committed suicide because they're in the room isolated. Okay, my children was never isolated. You're going to do your homework out in the ocean or I didn't open. Okay, you ain't got, no, this is my house. And no, I ain't have no isolation up in here, you know. But anyway, this has been good. But let's go back to, let's say, so the governor know he already have enough workers that's locked up to be able to do the agriculture. But what about the gaming and all the other stuff? Because I think the gaming there, Walt Disney is one of the largest employees that's bringing the most money, doesn't it?
Yeah, and let me tell you, Walt Disney World is not afraid of Ron DeSantis. They got a big day down there today. Today is Gay Day, not Gay Pride, but Gay Day.
Pride.
No, not Gay Pride. Gay Pride was last week. They had a whole week. This is Gay Day.
Okay.
And all the hotels are booked up. And you know, it's a lot of hotels down there. Every one of them booked up. It's so many people on iPhone going to Disney World until you can't even get on iPhone. So, you know, a lot of companies when you start, okay, like what happened a couple of weeks ago with Target, when they took a lot of the LGBTQ stuff off the shelves.
Yeah.
And I heard that it cost them something like $12 billion.
Wow.
So they're not worried about the money, but what they're worried about is stockholders. Okay. When they're stockholders, when the stocks start dropping, then they get worried. Okay. But Disney World does not worry about that. Disney does not worry about how much their profits drop. They don't worry about how their stockholders, because you got Disney World all the way around the world. That's why it's called Disney World.
Right.
Okay. And so they're not worried about DeSantis. DeSantis is just one little pea in the pod.
Wow. Wow.
And they're gonna run all over him, and he's gonna win. He's gonna lose this election trying to fight Disney World. And trying to fight all this immigration, which you've had presidents on top of presidents on top of presidents that couldn't do anything about immigration.
Well, they're talking about building a wall.
Solve the immigration problem?
No, it's not going to solve the immigration problem because you know what? The Chinese and everybody else who got 500,000 can come and buy citizenship today, and they're buying up a lot of property in America.
Exactly.
Okay. And so when they wake up and realize that the people who actually have taken all the jobs out of America because America wants cheap stuff. And so not only do they own all the manufacturing in the world, and now they're going to be owning a lot of land in America. And when they wake up, the people who they tried to keep out were people who just wanted to work.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And they're not going to, let me tell you, education, he may be hurting education now. The reason why I say he's hurting education, because when I was in the system, Florida was like number 25 out of the 50 states. Now Florida is number 50. We are down right here in Seminole County, 400 teachers. We lacking 400 teachers right here in Seminole County. Where he gonna get them 400 teachers from? Right now, when school closed last year, you had about a third of the teachers in the classrooms were substitutes. with just a high school education, and someone was in those classes for a whole year because of Ron DeSantis. He is hurting education in the state of Florida. He can't hurt Disney, but he hurting education.
Well, but also the people who support him got their kids in private school, maybe, you know. I mean, it's a lot of private school, a lot of Christian schools, a lot of places where other people can keep their children at. But if they don't educate the people, then that's like, you know, all of this is designed to make Florida, to make the citizens.
Yeah, but even the private school need teachers. Even the private school need teachers, and teachers are not coming to Florida. Who wants to go to a state where the pay is 50 on the you got 50 states and your pay is the bottom on the bottom. When I was working, we were 25, and Mississippi and what's that other place? Tennessee, Arkansas was on the bottom. I think Arkansas was number 50, and Tennessee was and Mississippi was number 49.
49. Well, I tell you, if we depend on this system to do this, I mean, the system has never wanted to do right. I mean, they talk about democracy. It was us. It was the Negro fighting for freedom and fighting to make this Constitution alive. I mean, really, everybody else is an add-on because we did the work. Nope, these people didn't believe in any freedom. They didn't believe in educating. It was against the law for a slave to learn how to read.
That's right.
Right. So
I think I think right now, our people in Florida are reading more books than they ever read because all these books that he put up.
Francis, tell them to make sure they read The Devil in the Grove so they can really.
They're gonna read The Devil in the Grove. It's required reading at most of the universities. It's required.
The Devil in the Grove. The Devil in the Grove is.
Yeah. It's required reading at Seminole State and at the University of Florida.
Well, that's good.
Florida.
But that's good. That's good because
UCF, University of Central Florida. But the Black people are forming book clubs.
Wonderful.
All these books that they've taken out of schools. They're having programs this summer, special programs this summer for children to read these books, and not only to read them, but to be read too. You see what I'm saying?
Well, this is a good idea. This is good. Right. Well, send me some more information about those, because I'd like to get some of those people on this summer, because that's what it's going to take. I mean, it's like Francis, they're taking us back somewhere where we know how to do things.
They're trying, Harry.
Well, they're trying,
but I think they're bringing us closer together.
Well, I do too, because that's when we were close together. I mean, really, and so I don't have a lot of angst about this, because I know the level of quality that we can do. I mean, I know what we can do as a people. I mean, I've lived through it. I've seen it. And you really, I said, okay.
We are a resilient people.
That's right. And our DNA shows it. Okay.
Shows it.
Look what
That's
we've
right.
been through. And our young people who are picking up guns don't understand what they have in them. They got something in them. Their ancestors had something in them that they have, but they don't know it yet. And sometimes they go to prison.
DeSantis running around here talking about woke. Let me tell you, Donald Trump told him to shut up about woke, because majority of people don't even know what woke means. And then on his campaign trail last week, somebody asked him to give the definition of the word woke. And I've been trying to read somewhere where he gave that definition. I haven't seen it yet.
Wow. Well, you know what? One of the things about it is that he keeps the humor going. I mean, Florida's always had this kind of mixed up politics.
Well, Florida was a mafia state for years and years.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's been,
they had dead people running for public office, dead people voting.
Well, especially when they were throwing the number from Cuba, and when Batista was there. Yeah, because, my grandma.
They had crazy governors who didn't even go to their own inauguration.
Well, but also, the Black community, the numbers coming out of Cuba used to put a little money in it, because my grandma used to play the numbers, and the guy come by and get, I don't know how much you get for a dime or for a nickel, but that money kept a little flow going.
My daughter just bought one of those mafia houses on the beach.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, it's nice. It's nice. It's got a mother-in-law suite. It's got everything. Yeah, it's
I saw that. So yeah. What county did she buy it in?
She bought in Daytona. She right on Daytona Beach, but she across the road from the beach. She's not in the part that's washing away right now. Eventually it might wash away, but she's safe from the storms. But it's one of those mafia houses. You know, they had those they built those nice houses back in the 20s. And those houses
for whites only. Those was for whites only.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Whites only. Oh yeah, wow. Well,
and they really well built. They well built. They were built back there in the 20s. They don't build with all this stuff they build today.
But you know, I hope the Senate's got some rainy day money, because you know you never know what hurricanes are doing. You know, somebody said there's somebody Africans sending the winds from Africa, the hurricanes. You know, so you don't even know. I hope you got some money aside for rainy days down there in Florida. You know.
Now, one thing about it, last year during storm season, I have to give it to DeSantis. He took care of storm victims. He really did it. He did. It's still money out there for storm victims and FEMA and stuff like that.
That's good.
And even if you just had some stress, not a whole lot of damage. Like I didn't have any damage, but I had stress from the storm. My lights were out a couple of days. You just fill this application out and they sent you a check for $700. So,
all right, go ahead, Ms. Stress. Go ahead. So, Francis, how can people around the country still help people in Florida? What can we do? I mean, because I did post everything when I saw it. When I saw the Amsterdam News in New York City talking about not coming to Florida, the NAACP, I made sure I tagged you with that. I mean, to make sure you know. I think it hit CNN too. I think it did hit CNN.
Yeah, it did. And and the NAACP they got a lot of money. People donated and stuff like this for us to get the word out, the word. And right now, you know, it's not going to be just a NAACP thing. It's going to be an immigrant thing. It's going to be a LGBTQ thing. It's going to be a woman's thing, abortion. You know what? The 6 weeks abortion thing. I mean,
well, you know,
what woman knows she's pregnant in 6 weeks?
Well, you know what? Because they never know what it is to be. So what can I say? But I do hope that we understand that we have helped these groups before, and at the end of the day, well, I mean, like out here in Washington State, when we were trying to get affirmative action back, a lot of those groups turned their back on us. So you know, we always. Well,
you know why affirmative action didn't work for us. You know what happened. Carrot, we were supposed to, when we got in the door, once we step up, we supposed to pull another black with us. And as we go, that black was supposed to pull 2 more with him. But when we got to the top, what did the white man do? He gave us a white wife, moved us out of our communities, gave us a Cadillac, and gave us a suite in the apartment, and we got bought off.
We got bought off. But
we thought we were white, so we didn't reach down and pick up that person coming up from us. Oh, I can still say that a lot of folks. I can still say a lot of groups. I can still say a lot of groups that we've helped in the past sometimes are not there for us. I mean, my experience in some places, but you need a strong coalition. They're not there for you. As a matter of fact, the NAACP is not what it used to be.
That's
because of the number of times we've been sued and lost the lawsuits, because they got the judges, they got the better lawyers and all this kind of stuff.
That's right.
So we lost a lot of money. NAACP lost a lot of money, lost a lot of credibility and all. And then we had this group to come up in the 80s and the 90s, I think it was the 90s, wanted to change the name of the NAACP.
That's
they
right.
Want to be called colored people. They want to be called colored people.
You know what I mean? But that's a valid name. I've been colored, you've been colored, and we've been Negro. So why do you want to take away? And this Negro on my birth certificate and on the mother's death certificate. And I honor the womb that I bore me. Okay, I mean, they just don't have any sense. They don't understand. They don't understand the continuity of history. It's a continuity of history that they don't understand. But you know, I'm just willing to do if I can to my platform, which is not huge compared to most people, but I can keep getting people on from Florida. I'm gonna have some people on from Jacksonville probably next month sometime. But that type of stuff. But so anyway, I just appreciate the work that you're doing. And now that I know that you're a builder, so it's like, oh my goodness, let me get my money up so I can get me one of those.
I'll be 8 in September. Maybe I can build 2 more before I get 90.
Yeah, well, who knows? I mean, might build one for Miss Harriet.
Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah.
Okay.
So I always enjoy having you on. I want my listeners to know that they can go to, and listen to this on a podcast. It's going to be up real soon after my show. So, all right, you take care down there, and tell your husband I said hello, and I want
sure
some okra
will.
this year. Make sure that okra is good. I want you to send me some okra. I love fresh okra. So if you got any okra,
I cut some okra this morning. Okay, but I'm gonna send you some fresh okra this year.
Okay, that sounds good. You take care then.
All right, Harry. You have a great day too.
You
Be
too.
blessed.
Thank you. You listen to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden, and I enjoyed being on the air. I hope you enjoyed my show today. Check me out next week. Take care.
The Mother's Justice Show is brought to you by H.G. Walden and the Virtues Healing Circles. Join us for Wisdom and Wellness with Reverend Walden, a monthly virtual and in-person healing circle that focuses on community healing and growth. Learn more at virtueshealing.com. That's virtueshealing.com. Also, be sure to join our healing group on Facebook. Again, visit us at virtueshealing.com today.